Antiserum, like when it was first started, like a long time ago, there was a few of us actually in it, 3 guys. The name, it just like we were honestly just looking through like a thesaurus or something, and it just struck a chord with me. And then I later realized that it's like, my dad's a doctor, and it kind of ties in with that. Right before I made the transition to being a full-time musician, I was working at a church in San Francisco, one of the biggest churches. The dubstep crowd is they're kind of like junglist, like the drum and bass guys that I used to associate with were just like drum and bass only.
Yeah.
It's gotta be drum and bass.
Hi, this is Lauren Engel of Sidewalk Talk. Today I'm here with Antiserum.
Howdy.
I remember finding Brick Squad Anthem like 5-6 years ago. It like blew my mind.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my.
That was kind of the one that sort of set it off. I think it was August 2012 when that was put
so
together.
Cool. And I started like going through yesterday and listening. I'm like, this is like still so amazing. Like having all the nostalgic moments.
Yeah, that record is a special one for me still. It's kind of when we wrote it, I was in this like point in my life where I was sick of dubstep. I had just gotten off a tour with Excision and Downlink. It was like this was in like 2011. It was the first like dubstep tour on a bus, and I just got off that tour. It was sick, don't get me wrong, but I was just like, I can't listen to dubstep anymore. It's stale now. So, and then Brick Squad kind of just popped out right after that.
So you were born in the Bay Area?
I was born in Lexington, Kentucky, actually.
Oh, and for your parents you moved?
I moved to Santa Cruz, California in '89. Been doing this for a minute, but yeah, I grew up in Santa Cruz on the beach, and then moved to the Bay in 2001 to go to art school. I went to school for 3D animation and stuff.
What do your parents do?
Dad's a doctor, and my mom's an art major.
So you get her creativity from...
Yeah. And my grandma is a concert pianist, and she used to play at the silent theater back in the day when it was just like, just a movie and no dialogue or anything, just someone playing behind the screen.
Yeah.
So my grandma used to do that.
That's so cool.
And she's, just an amazing pianist.
How would you describe yourself back then growing up?
Back then, I was really into skateboarding and surfing. Growing up in Santa Cruz, you like had to do that, or else you get jumped. You get beat up if you weren't a surfer. So yeah, I spent a lot of time at the beach and skateboarding. Was always, into art and stuff. But early on, I was like a programmer. I used to program stuff like when America Online was around. I don't know if you remember that. It's kind of old, but it was like one of the first like internet service providers. But I used to write like hacking programs for America Online that would like interface
That's so
with
cool.
that.
How old were you?
Like 13, 14, yeah, like really young. But I was really into that just from an early age, just computers, technology, and whatnot. And that's kind of what drove me to go to art school for 3D.
Yeah.
I remember seeing Jurassic Park and The Matrix when they came out. I was like, I gotta do this shit.
What were your favorite subjects back then, like art and computers? You didn't even have that in high school, right?
Yeah, I kind of sucked at high school. Like I was always ditching class and like, kind of fucking around.
Yeah.
Going to the beach. I did all right though. I passed. I just like right out of high school, I just went right up to the SF and went to the Academy of Art.
Yeah. What kind of music were your parents playing in the house when you were growing up?
Good question. My dad, he used to play a lot of The Who and Phil Collins, Genesis, Def Leppard. He's a big rocker guy. Neil Young. He used to always just play these vinyl records to me when I was a baby, and I I have these memories of just him playing records, you know.
Do you remember the first CD you bought?
The first CD?
Yeah.
You know, I don't really know the first CD I bought, but I can remember like the first electronic CD I bought that kind of like
Electronic CD?
that sort of changed the direction. I was in New York, and this was right when the Prodigy Fat of the Land album came out. And I remember going to Tower Records, which probably isn't there anymore, because most of them shut down, but I remember buying that album, Prodigy Fat of the Land, with the little crab on the cover. And I don't know, that was probably the first like album I bought that really sort of struck a chord with me. Before that, I was listening to a lot of like gangster rap from...
Yeah, you're really into hip-hop, like Bay Area.
Yeah. But when I was young, like 13, 14, I was listening to like Too Short, Tupac, like all the Bay Area gangster rap shit. I was like so into.
You were kind of in the scene back then, right? The hip-hop scene in Bay Area.
A little bit. I made rap beats like for kids from my high school, like in Fruity Loops version 2, which is now like probably version 10 or 11, I don't even know. But yeah, I was just messing around, like I never really took it seriously until I heard drum and bass music, and like right when I went to college, like in 2001, 2002, that's kind of like, I was like a hip hop head, and then I heard drum and bass. It was like Dillinger or something. I was like hooked after that, just totally. And then I ended up like dropping out of art school and DJing and shit. So.
Did you have like a moniker before?
Yeah. When I played drum and bass, my alias was CMOS.
Oh, is stuff still online?
What's that?
Is stuff still online? Are they gonna find it?
Well, there's no records. I was purely like I started just by DJing. Really, like I played vinyl, like drum and bass vinyl. At these like warehouse break-in rave parties. So I started out doing that like before really diving into production stuff.
Did you already have a fan base from that?
No, not really. I mean, just maybe in the Bay, I don't know. It was, it was just like me and all the homies just, throwing these generator mini raves in these like, old abandoned warehouses and shit in the Bay. They like no one does it anymore. But that's kind of where I got the start, just playing vinyl. And I remember like the first gig I ever did with vinyl, I remember being so nervous and like trying to lift the, the needle tone arm on the record, and I couldn't do it because I was shaking so much.
Wow.
And I really like vividly remember everything about that moment. It was just, but that's kind of, that first gig, I was hooked after that, even though I was scared shitless.
What made you wanted to study 3D modeling?
I mean, as soon as like that movie Jurassic Park and like The Matrix came out, I was like, I knew I wanted to do that.
So you wanted to get into like film?
Yeah, 3D animation, 3D modeling. I wanted to go work for Pixar.
Oh, that's cool.
And like it was going in that direction. Like I was really close to doing it, and then drum and bass kind of messed me up. I got like hooked on it. Oh. And then
did you do some like internships, or like how were you getting towards that direction?
I didn't have any internships yet. I basically went to the school for 3D for like 3 years, and then just bailed on it.
Because your career was picking off, or you just was
not even that. It was just like, my passion was like just making a turn. Like I was just more into sound art than visual art. Like the school, going to art school really turned me off because there was a lot of like stuff I could learn on my own just by reading books and stuff, and I don't know. I'm glad I went the path I did, because here I am now, still doing music stuff.
Did it ever occur to you to study music?
No, and I have no actual like formal music training. It's all just trial and error and just exploring, really.
Was college something that your parents wanted you to do, or did you kind of like want to do yourself?
Well, yeah, I mean, they wanted me to go. I wanted to be independent. I think every kid wants, when they turn 18, they want to get out of their house. So I sort of just took the first first opportunity I could get to get the hell out of my parents' house.
Yeah.
But yeah, no regrets, looking back.
How did you come up with your name?
So, I mean, it's basically like Antiserum, like when it was first started, like a long time ago, there was a few of us actually in it, 3 guys. The name, it just like, we were honestly just looking through like a thesaurus or something. And it just struck a chord with me. And then I later realized that it's like, my dad's a doctor, and it kind of ties in with that. Like, Antiserum is like a anti-venom type deal. You can Google it. I don't want to. I mean, I honestly don't know that much about, the scientific shit behind the name, but.
So the other people left?
Yeah. So it was like 3 of us starting, and we were all doing drum and bass stuff initially, and it's probably like 2007 is when I've pretty much been doing it since then, solo. A little over 10 years, 11 years.
Were you working at like Grace Cathedral?
Yeah. That's funny you brought that up. So, right before I made the transition to being a full-time musician, I was working at a church in San Francisco, one of the biggest churches. Marilyn Monroe got married there. It's like real historical church, Grace Cathedral. So I worked there for like 7 years almost.
Why did you choose to work there?
Well, I dropped out of the Academy of Art and was living in San Francisco. You had to get a job, so I found this 9-hour-a-week job at Grace Cathedral, and then it slowly turned into a full-time gig, and I was pretty much.
You're like, you did everything.
I was running the joint. Like, I was doing everything there except for actually preaching and doing sermons and stuff. Like,
Are you religious?
Jewish.
Oh.
And it's an Episcopal church, so it was cool, really great job. And the cool part about it was, under the church, there's a recording studio in the crypt.
Yeah, didn't you record like Bulgarian?
Yeah. So, I used to record a lot of stuff in the church because it had this big natural, like 11-second cathedral reverb. It sounded amazing. And we'd get all these we had like Carlos Santana come through, Katie Lang, and then we'd get these like choirs that would come through, and so I'd be at the controls for a lot of these concerts, so I would constantly be taking a lot of the material, and trying to incorporate it into my music. So I do have a record out called Bulgarian Funk from a long time ago that has this Bulgarian women's choir that I recorded. 2011, that's when that Excision Downlink tour popped up. I had to sort of choose between going on tour with Excision or keeping my 9 to 5. So.
So you already met a lot of people before that, like Mayhem.
I didn't know Mayhem at that time, but I've known Jeff Excision for a long time, probably since 2007, maybe. Known him for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I basically quit my job and went on the road with Excision Downlink for a couple months. I think it was pretty much the first dubstep like bus tour, hard ticket bus tour.
How are you like getting your stuff out there initially?
Well, I met him on the internet on AIM, which is not around anymore. And we just like were mutual fans of each other's work, and then we got together. It was like 2012. I think we started writing some stuff. And our first records were like kind of dubstep-y, kind of trappy, like a blend, and then Brick Squad was probably the first one that sort of created a little bit of a wave.
Did you have a marketing plan for your early stuff? Like, were you sending to blogs? Well, people were like.
It was different back then. It was different.
Yeah.
It's like now it's
YouTube. I don't know, or SoundCloud.
SoundCloud was the main platform for. We basically just pushed that tune out for free. This is before Spotify, before a lot of the new copyright laws that don't really let you put stuff like that out there anymore. You know, I mean, we basically had all these samples in there.
So were you working at this job and then kind of like in your free time you were like networking online, like pushing
Yeah,
yourself out
yeah.
there?
So with the Grace Cathedral gig, I was basically, I mean, if my boss ever sees this interview, he's gonna roll his eyes, but I was putting the majority of my time at Grace Cathedral into Antiserum. You know, I was doing a little bit of work for Grace, holding it down, but whenever I got my work done, I would go to the studio in the crypt and write and just listen to stuff, just, you know, just geek out.
Was it difficult, like, after you quit that, like, living financially?
It
Or
was-
was your career already stable enough?
No, there was no stability at all. I mean, I basically had one opportunity to go on a 30, 40 date bus tour, you know, and after that, I didn't really have any sort of plan. So I took a big risk, you know.
So you kind of just knew everything would work out somehow.
I didn't actually. I just knew that if like I said no to going on that bus tour, like I would look back years down the line and be really upset about that, you know.
You think that was a big launching pad for you?
100%. That was the turning point, you know. And like I don't regret it one bit. It was such a fun tour.
Yeah.
Really special, you know. We were on a bandwagon tour bus, which is like the budget tour bus. Now I know Excision has like probably 4 or 5 tour buses now on his run. He's really upgraded quite a bit. But yeah, we had a lot of fun. It was really special back then, really fresh, you know. It was a new thing to do a bus tour, you know, for dubstep with a PK sound system. But
Did you ever have difficulties with your fan bases after changing like genres and type of styles?
yeah, you know, things are always changing. Now especially, it's, you know, kids, especially the dubstep crowd, they're very hardcore, you know. They want to have their, you know, they just like dubstep for the most part. I don't know. I feel like a lot of the dubstep crowd is very, they're kind of like junglists, like the drum and bass guys that I used to associate with were just like drum and bass only.
Yeah.
You know, it's gotta be drum and bass, but it doesn't really bother me. Like I like all styles of music, and I try to make like a lot of different styles of music. You know.
Did you ever feel like you had pressure to like stay current with the times and change your style?
Not really. I think it's just like, I think a lot of producers, myself included, we just get kind of bored with certain sounds, formulas and whatnot. And like when, you know, the dubstep thing, like I think it just wore me out after that tour with Excision. And the trap stuff was just so fresh, you know, the 808s and like, I don't know, it was great.
Who inspired you for the early trap stuff? I feel like you're one of the early people who pioneered that
Yeah,
type of
I mean,
sound.
I guess the first stuff I heard that really got me was like Bauer, Dum Dum.
Yeah, listen to all of the and your stuff at the same time.
Yeah, it was around the same time, but those guys got me into it. You know, Floss, Bauer, you know, and then there was like Jen Johns and Loud Pack, like all those Gladiator. Those guys all kind of sparked the inspiration, you know, the early trap inspiration.
What was the big thing that happened after the bus tour? Like, did you have management after that, or?
No. I linked up with my manager Danny in it was like 2013 maybe, and you know, I had an agent on Windish for a little while, which is really cool. Got to play a lot of cool stuff. But yeah, it was basically Brick Squad, I think, is like the turning point for like all that stuff, you know, just the trap wave. That record really sort of did a lot for both of us. Yeah, that was the start of it all.
Yeah. And then people started approaching you?
Yeah, just like there was a lot more gig opportunities, a lot more collaboration opportunities. You know, it was the right time, I feel like, for that sound.
With the success of that song, did you feel like you had pressure to replicate the success?
Yeah, I think all producers struggle with that. You know, it's like you set the bar, you see like how people react to a certain song, and you see people reacting to it in a real positive way. And I think a lot of people try to, recreate things that were successful, formulas, whatever, genres, styles. But I guess you're kind of setting yourself up for failure if you do stuff like that. What I've kind of figured out. You just gotta just make shit from the heart, and just be in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Make shit for yourself, stuff that you really like.
How did you meet Snails?
Snails, oh man. I met Snails in Montreal at a club called Les Belmont, and shit, I can't remember the date. It's probably 2013 sometime, but I got booked to play a show up there, and Snails was opening, and I just, my first impression of it was so awesome meeting him. He was just this super happy, bubbly.
Yeah, I interviewed him. He has so much energy.
Yeah, just really fun to be around, and I knew this guy was gonna do something special. And I think at the time he had this record called Bubble Gun, something Bubble, that was kind of getting him some momentum. And then I think it was the following year after that we got together and wrote this track called Wild, which came out on OWSLA. And yeah, that was another tune that really kind of struck a chord, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe with the music community, because it was different. It was really different. Snails is really good sound designer, and I think that the world was ready for that kind of sound at that point. After that, Snails just started crushing it, and now he's huge now. But I think that was one of the first ones that kind of started to build that wave. For super fun working on that with him. We had all these cool Skype sessions, we'd be cheersing each other on Skype. And then, from the beginning, I told her, I was like, bro, just wait. You're gonna do really well.
Yeah. And
just get ready to have a lot of fun. And here we are.
Yeah. How about Ricky Remedy?
Remedy, oh man, yeah, he's one of the dopest producers, man. And it's cool. He's finally getting some shine now that he deserves, because he's one of the most talented guys, And I'm trying to think. Yeah, Remedy. We did some dates with him, did some shows with him, did a little collab with him. But yeah, he's amazing. Still one of my favorite producers for rap stuff, trap. But yeah. He's definitely going far, for sure.
Yeah. How has your style changed for the upcoming stuff you have? Or is it
style?
Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely feeling this new dubstep wave. This kind of rebirth of the dubstep sound. It's really dope. So a lot of my stuff now is kind of going back in that direction, but still hints of trap and hip hop, and I think it still sounds like me, but I'm definitely feeling the dubstep more than trap these days. You'll definitely hear it in the next records that come out from me. They're definitely more dubsteppy. But I just wrote a track a couple days ago with this dude Pastat, who lives in Hollywood. Really talented guy, up and coming. Young guy, but we wrote one a couple days ago that's real hybrid-y trap vibes. So I just try to dabble in everything, really, whatever I'm feeling. Try to be diverse.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling the dubstep stuff, all Sudden Death, all these new guys that are they're pushing the sound design just to the next level, and I'm constantly in my studio just scratching my chin. Listening to these guys, just the way they get the sounds of this pop now, it's just crazy. But yeah. I'm into it. It's definitely inspiring me. All this next wave of dub guys. I mean, I could name a million, but Sudden Death stands out the most because I think his sound design is just on a whole different level than anyone else. Shout out Danny.
Yeah.
He's out here in LA too. All the greatest guys are out here.
Yeah. What was it like growing up and like with your twin sister?
Oh yeah.
Now.
Yeah. Having a twin has always been interesting. Growing up, it was more of a competition. Growing up, you know, she was always the star academic, you know, like valedictorian,
Oh, wow.
straight A's. I was more of an average. I was a B student. But yeah, we've been really close. She has always been a huge support of everything I do. She just comes out to the shows all the time, and she recently just had twin boys.
Yeah.
So I've been going over there and babysitting like as much as I can, maybe, you know, every week or every other week, and I'm trying to get them trained on music. I bought them a little keyboard.
Already?
Yeah. So we do music lessons, and I've brought my laptop and loaded up like Serum and some bass sounds, and kind of, you know, just trying to see.
You can like do a collab.
Yeah, no, they're into it though. Every time I show up now, they're like, keyboard, Uncle Mikey, where's the keyboard? But they especially like the siren sounds and like the build up riser sounds. They'll just hit a key and just, you get to see their like faces light up. But I'm gonna be, you know, the uncle that pushes the music thing on them, because it's something I have to do.
Yeah.
But it's great. Yeah, I've been, you know, part-time babysitter, part-time producer. It's cool. I'm just trying to keep it balanced, you know.
Yeah. How would you say you've grown as a person since you were younger?
Well, you know, growing up, you know, with the divorce in the family is difficult. But yeah, everyone, I feel like, is dealing with that these days. But yeah, it was hard not having a pops around for a little while. I don't know. It's definitely made me like I don't know. It's made me tougher, I think. Just having to move across the country and start a new life in California. And then living in the city in San Francisco is really, I feel like it's really seasoned me in a lot of ways. I don't know. I'm always upgrading and learning new things, you know. Just trying to be a better person every day, you know.
Yeah. What would you say have been your biggest challenges so far?
Biggest life challenges?
Yeah.
Biggest life challenges? Well, I mean, just living as an independent musician full time is a challenge, you know, especially living in California, San Francisco. It's expensive.
Yeah.
It's unstable. It's up and down. That's the biggest challenge I think I can think of right now, is just, you know, making a living, making a good living off music. It's hard, but it's doable, you know. If you have the right ambition, motivation, drive, you can do it. It's doable, but it's up and down, you know. It's not stable at all. It could just like disappear in a heartbeat, you know.
What does success look like to you?
Success? I think just honestly just doing what you love to do, being happy about it, being happy about waking up in the morning and being excited about what you do, even if you're not making a bunch of money off it. I think that's success, you know. If you can make it work. Yeah, my perception of success has changed a lot over the years. Like, you know, when you're younger, you think success is having the big house and all the money and the cars, and I don't know. I think now success is more about family and just being happy with who you are as a person, and you know what you do for the people you love. I guess, I don't know. Might sound corny, but
What does love mean to you?
Love?
Yeah.
Geez, this is a deep one.
Yeah.
Love to me is I don't know. I guess I think about, when I think of love, I think of my family and my parents, and how they've always, no matter what, always been supporting me in whatever direction I go in life. I guess that's like unconditional love. I don't know. I think I'm just like, as I get older, like the family connection for me is like really important. Like that's love, you know, like having people that really care about you, you know, because friends come and go, but the family thing, like as the days go by, I just get closer with my family, and I want to know more about them, and you know, it's, I don't know, I think that's love.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Last question, what do you want to be remembered for?
I really just want to be remembered for being a good human being that makes all my friends and family smile, makes them happy, feel good. And you know, I also want to be, I'd love to be known for the contributions I made to music as well. But I think more importantly, I really just want to be a good person, do good, you know, and just spread good vibes. And just be known for that guy who's always smiling and happy, and you know, making people feel comfortable. And I don't know, I guess it's simple, you know. I just want to be known as a good human being.
I love that. This is awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.